Hey guys, welcome to Christina Cakes It. I'm Christina and today I'm showing you my go-to chocolate cake recipe. So I think that everybody should have a chocolate cake recipe that is really simple and is a crowd pleaser, and this is definitely the recipe for you. So I've used this recipe in so many different cakes, including tiered cakes, and this cake is actually going to be a tier of a wedding cake. So something to note before we get started is I have preheated my oven to 350, and this recipe is enough for 3 8-inch cake layers. So I like this recipe because it's a lot of batter, which I appreciate. And let's go ahead and go over the different ingredients. So we have 3 cups of flour, 3 cups of sugar, 1.5 cups of cocoa powder, 1 tablespoon of baking soda, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, 4 eggs, 1.5 cups of buttermilk, 1/2 cup of vegetable oil, 1.5 cups of warm water, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla. So the good news about this recipe is it is so simple. Like literally, we're just gonna add all of our dry ingredients mix, and then we're just gonna add our wet ingredients and we're done. So I'm using a stand mixer for this recipe, but you can definitely use a hand mixer. I have many times. So I'm just gonna start by adding my flour, sugar, cocoa, our salt, baking powder, and baking soda. And we're just gonna mix this together. Definitely do it on low because this is all dry ingredients and you don't want to go everywhere. I've done that too. So when all of our dry ingredients are whisked together, I'm going to just add all the remaining wet ingredients and mix our batter. So we have our buttermilk. I love cakes with buttermilk. It's just my own preference. I think they always taste great. Our vegetable oil, our eggs, our warm water, and lastly our vanilla. So again, I'm just gonna start this on low. So once we're out of the danger zone of things like splashing, I'm gonna turn this up a little bit. And I'm just gonna mix this for about 2 to 3 minutes. So I'm gonna stop and just scrape down the sides of the bowl and give this one final mix. All right, you guys, that is it. We're done. So now all I'm gonna do is divide my batter between the pans and put them in the oven for about 30 to 35 minutes. So for 8-inch layers, we're gonna put about between 3.5 and 4 cups of batter. This recipe is 3.5 cups of batter per pan. So these are gonna go into my 350-degree preheated oven for between 30 and 35 minutes. We're gonna know that they are done if we insert a knife and it comes out clean. So my cakes cooked for 34 minutes and I let them cool in the pan for about 10 minutes before I put them on my cooling rack to cool completely. So after my cakes have cooled, I am gonna go ahead and level them. So I'm just cutting off my top domes. I highly recommend saving these. They're good cake scraps. All right, so now my cakes are level and they are ready to stack and frost. This cake is gonna go ahead and live in my freezer, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up these layers. And I do hope that you guys enjoyed this recipe and I hope you try it. And if you did, don't forget to give this episode a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel.